Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining another installment of the Blathering Brothers. We have a hopefully a good show and good conversation for today. It's a topic that we both have some years of experience. I believe I studied the topic for about 12 years. You had about 10 or so years of experience. So we are what you would call experts on the topic. Before I jump into that, though, I do want to just mention our show sponsor, which in today's video is you. You, the viewer, are the show sponsor. One, we don't have any actual sponsor, but by watching this video and by liking this video, you ultimately are our sponsor of John Sam TV.
So please like.
Absolutely.
And comment.
Yep.
And subscribe.
Yep. And if the
trifecta.
If the ratio of John, Sam, and my mom commenting is more than anybody else, that's a terrible ratio. We that's a good metric we use to kind of see how we're doing. And if there's more comments from us, we know we are not doing something right. So with that in mind, we're going to be talking about, I'll let you do the honor.
Homeschooling.
Homeschooling.
The topic of homeschooling, our experience, what others have asked us over the years. Mm-hmm. I guess we should just really get into it. But yeah, that's kind of the main focus today. So,
and some of you may not know. Well, I should say I feel like there's probably two camps of people who know John Sam TV. One, you found out possibly through our Blimey Cow submission dinner date, I believe is what it was called a number of years ago. So that kind of would draw from a crowd, possibly a homeschooling group. Maybe, I believe, topics were discussed of that nature, homeschooling, from that channel. And then the other group could possibly be our haircut video. So you could have one group of folks who know that we were homeschooled, and then another group are just like, why aren't you posting haircut videos? Unsubscribe.
Right.
So with that, let's jump into it. We're going to kind of, we have a number of questions that we've come up with to ask each other. I believe, we will comment on them. But so I will start with directing my first question to Sam regarding homeschooling. This is a really serious question, one that I believe most people think of when they think of homeschooling, which is, what are the most common or popular beliefs or stereotypes non-homeschoolers have about homeschoolers? Deep stuff.
Some most common misconceptions, you said?
Beliefs or stereotypes. Yeah, I guess you could say misconceptions or generalizations that people make.
I think the biggest one I remember getting growing up was this idea that there was like no structure at all. You could do kind of whatever you want, you make your own rules. I guess kind of like a subset of it was when we were a kid I grew up with would always ask like, you must be playing video games all day long.
Oh, the video games one.
Yeah,
yes,
or you're watching TV all day long. Like, do you ever actually study?
Yep.
Kind of laughing because, to be honest, I play more video games now.
I was thinking the same thing about myself.
Yeah, like I have a full-time job and I probably play more video games, not during obviously work, but they always give that, it's like, oh, you must, I'd play video games all day if I was homeschooled. Be like, well, then you wouldn't get anything done, so that can't work.
Yeah.
So that was probably the biggest misconception.
And I feel like that was probably the most common question that other students would have. They would say, oh, do you just play video games all day? Parents could maybe say something more of, they maybe would talk on, well, do you just get to wear PJs all day? Right. Which is funny because now I'm actually living that. I do wear PJs all day. I work from home and I do play video games. So I've become more of a stereotypical homeschooler now that I'm not in school than I was when I was in school.
Quarantine has made everyone.
So all the comments about wearing your PJs all day, here we are. We're all doing it now.
But during those homeschool years, we actually had I can't speak on all homeschoolers. I don't know what other families did.
You're not Google. You're not spying on them.
Right. But I don't know. But we had a fairly structured day. I tried to plan out my day to figure out, what that looked like. So. And
I know for us, Mom would usually come out with each year we'd have somewhat of a schedule. I don't remember if we had actual times where we had to do certain types of topics or curriculum, but there definitely was a structure to it that we followed. And so, there was definitely discipline to it.
Yeah.
I've heard of other, type of ways people plan their homeschooling. Maybe it is more free. Maybe it's more structured. I felt like we were, probably just because it was me living it, I felt like we were a pretty happy medium. We had a structure. But then if something came up, we were able to take advantage of that.
And I think that's really was the benefit of, or I guess I should say, that may be a version of it that is true, was the flexibility. I had a structured day because I like to have knowing when I was going to do math or when I was going to do science or whatever. But if something came up, that could change. And that was a benefit again, of just living life and being homeschooled and not being totally structured to a system.
Exactly.
So yeah, there was, I guess there were some aspects that were true of that, but like the free stuff of like, oh, you must be never doing school and stuff. Like, well, no, I would have graduated.
You don't know my mom. We were not playing video games.
Right.
We would have, we wouldn't have made it this far.
Right.
Another, I think, common comment that would be made would be when somebody found out that you were homeschooled, oftentimes I'd get this like, oh, I didn't know, really? I wouldn't have guessed that.
Right.
Which that was, I
didn't notice you were homeschooled.
I would sit there and be like, I didn't know how to respond. Thank you. I mean, was that supposed to be negative or what? I don't know what that thank you, what that comment meant, but that was definitely at least a couple times I got that comment.
Wow.
Like, I would have never guessed. I'm like, okay. Oh, wow. What did you think?
Yeah, because I think, I'm like, I had public school people that I knew, and I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, I didn't realize you were public school. I mean, there's like, I think I've talked to those that have went to public school. We had an older brother went to public school.
Yeah.
They're kind of just weird people everywhere. Yeah, there's not just like one group of people that are weird.
It's almost like, oh, you could string together 2 sentences. I didn't know you were homeschooled. Homeschoolers can't talk. So yeah, that was another one that I felt like we got a lot.
Yeah, I think that kind of was probably the biggest ones that I came across.